Well, welcome to the Tony Topping Show. We're here in Lytham St Anne's chatting to a mate of mine called Dex Dobie. And Dex is an explorer of paranormal realities, or he doesn't like using the word paranormal, so he just slapped my wrist. But anyway, he's an explorer of new realities, shall we say. And he's had extreme paranormal experiences. He's had quite an extraordinary life. He's had, to name but a few things, he's had a career in the ambulance service, he's been a glassmaker, he's gone through some extreme experiences in the world of high strangeness. And it's only when you start to talk to Dex do you realise the level of experiences that he's had. Some may agree with him, some may not agree with him, but as Dex says, that's just tough. And oddly enough, it was quite funny because earlier on this morning, he was talking to me about his reincarnation and past lives. And it was quite intense stuff because he was going, oh yes, I was with the Inquisition, and oh my God, and I did this and I did that, and oh, it was a past life, and this, that. Oh, I've forgotten the tea bags, I must go, I forgot them. And there you go. And that's Dex. And he's a great guy. And anybody who knows Dex will tell you what a smashing top bloke he is. And it's very nice to have him on the Tony Topping Show. He doesn't normally give interviews because last time he gave an interview to a certain radio station, a commercial one, they made him look an idiot, which I thought was a bit unprofessional. So, Dex Dobie, welcome to the Tony Topping Show.
Cheers, Tom.
Now then, where do we begin with you? Where's my list? Where's my questions? Where do we start? What do we, where would you want to begin? First of all, I'll tell you what we'll start with is how did this journey begin? I think how did it begin?
Well, it actually started back in '93.
Yes.
And I had a business that went to the wall.
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher's bursted the bubble.
Yeah.
I had to lay off 12 people. Then the marriage followed 2 weeks later.
You run a business with 12 people?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were one man.
I was, what do they call it, advisor to Pilkin and Glass.
Were you?
And I did that in 5 years, just reading a library book on how to cut glass.
Did you? Gracious. I didn't know that.
I had some of the biggest hotel chains trying to find me to do their artwork.
To do their artwork?
Because I can actually plate glass sculptor.
Right, yeah.
We don't actually cut plate glass, so
yeah.
I can put you in it where your mum would know you.
Yeah, amazing. And how long did that take to learn? How many years does that crap take?
About 6 months.
About 6 months. And
I read a book. That was it.
And that, listeners, is actually the crucial thing about Dex, because when it comes to his own experiences, he hasn't actually read any books on UFOs. He hasn't really read any books on the paranormal or anything like that. It's all because of his own experiences that he's made some conclusions about that, which is fascinating, as well as his journey onto self-mastery as well. But I think that you were born in London, though, weren't you?
Yes,
right?
Originally East End.
Yeah. And what was life like in the East End?
I'd rather be in Lytham.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't go back unless it was really important.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Well, no, it's interesting because I know that you recently went through a very bad time with things, like you wouldn't believe, didn't you?
Yeah.
Really, really bad. I mean, it was horrendous, wasn't it?
Yeah. One of many.
One of many. But you managed, but you stayed on the right side of of the situation. I think you prayed and I was getting very worried
never
about.
prayed.
No. What do you do then?
Nothing, just be myself.
Go on.
Literally, I do not pray.
No, but you
know my own personal saying I invented.
Yes, go on.
Worship never, work with ever.
Yeah, all very true. No,
work with your highest nature.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're saying is you manifested your highest. Because you've got to remember, you've got to remember that we have to get you to talk, because I have to put electrodes on you and chuck water on you to get you to talk, because you're a sod for going tough. That's their problem if they don't understand me. And the issue, it's not an issue. It's not even a problem.
Well, it's not arrogant.
No, it's not arrogance. It's just that you're interesting. So
right.
You've got to drag the information out of you.
We were speaking earlier, yeah?
Yeah.
And I said we're redesigning the website, yeah?
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And on the first page will be about skeptics are welcome to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But my empathy lays with the forerunners, what I call the forerunner, your good self.
Mm-hmm.
People like you that have had experiences or not, they follow their own gut feeling or intuition, right? And this is important. Skeptics, as far as I'm concerned, hold the evolution of this planet up, and that's why we're getting deeper and deeper into more violence, more police states, including England. Yeah. Don't need it.
Yeah.
The lowering of society is how many rules they will accept.
Very true. I mean, do you think England's a police state?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, I've always thought our police force was not perfect, but a good model of policing.
You were from that generation.
Now, yeah. But now, they're just paramilitary.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing there? Oh, look, you've got your indicator on, grab them out, put them on the floor and put handcuffs on. That's about it.
That's absolutely
right. And to me, that's assault.
Mm.
That would be assault. And I would want to make a citizen's arrest.
But then there's that cliche that you come out with, isn't there, that person on the floor who is being handcuffed has created that reality.
Not in all cases. If you watch the television, they can't wait to get either the spray on the face, hit you with their baton type nightstick. No, I'm sorry, I'm not a militant person.
But you don't think in the school...
But England's going down the Swanee.
Oh, I agree, yeah. Oh,
and the more they get, the more they arm up and armour themselves, the more they're creating the problem they're trying to solve.
Do you think, from your point of view, it's a dumbing down of consciousness?
No, I think it's a heightening.
Right.
My findings personally, and you know, I don't know if anyone agrees or not, my own personal findings through experience, I do believe that the vibration of our consciousness, our awareness, our very awareness of who we are, is slowly lifting the covers off it. We have been in sleep mode for thousands and thousands of years. And there has been nothing wrong with that. Because we come to this particular planet, as far as I'm concerned, and there's only one thing worth having. It's not the polar bears, it's not the pandas. It's you can come here and not be who you are. And that's the name of the game. You've got to find out who you are. So the only way you can do it is the opposite of what actually works everything. That's love. So you dive in. You co-create all these experiences with the people around you.
No matter how bad they are. So that situation you were in a few months ago where you nearly...
I co-created it.
You co-created it. You gave permission, you think you gave permission for yourself to do that?
Oh, bloody hell, yeah. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
This is it, you see, isn't it? We are indeed more... it's a very strong opinion that you have, that we are the co-creators of our own reality.
Absolutely, there are no victims.
No, there are no victims.
But how far do you want to go down the rabbit hole?
Well, exactly. But you see, the thing is you probably... If there's anything... I mean, you know, talking about you, Dex, if anybody has seen victims, it's you with your history in the ambulance service. You know, what kind of... I mean, what drew you to get into the ambulance service? How did you get into that?
I was pushed.
You pushed into it?
Yeah. I actually had my own hackney carriage in Cleveland.
Right. What, do you mean a horse and carts?
Yeah, I'm not that old.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
Actually, it was a right old wreck that I bought, but it had the hackney with it.
You say you're not that old, but how old are you spiritually?
8 billion life experiences on.
I love it. 8 billion.
8 billion.
8 billion.
I don't reckon, I know.
Do you think that these life experiences are...
How many think you've had, Tony? We all more or less started at the same time.
I'd go for about, alright, well, if you're to ask me, because I believe in reincarnation and all like that.
There's no such thing.
No, there is.
There isn't.
No, there is.
Life never stops.
Life's a continuous process. The universe is continual. I know that. But from a human perspective, for me, there's reincarnation.
Okay.
There's different experiences.
But while you're doing that, you're separating yourself from a basic truth of life. Life is everywhere. It never ends. It can never end.
Oh, I don't disagree. No, I don't disagree.
So I like the baseline, you see, because that way you can look back and understand some of the beliefs you held, which no longer exist.
Well, that's very true. I think the human mind is a co-creator of its own experience, and I think it's linked to a higher intelligence, isn't it? And the thing is that you say that the thing what we're going into is the fact that you joined the ambulance service. I think you ran a market stall. You were in the acne carriage thing as well.
I've done demolition in the ambulance.
You've done all that, haven't you? You've done all that.
I've had 30 jobs in my work.
Yeah, you will have done. But what is interesting, as we're speaking from a spiritual point of view, is that I don't think. I mean, you saw some stuff in the ambulance service.
Yeah.
But I don't think these spiritual events started happening to you just yet, did they?
No, they didn't.
They didn't, did they? And,
No.
and that's what's interesting about you, because you have had extreme spiritual experiences. I wouldn't say extreme. What's the word? You've explored higher realities.
Eye-opening.
Yeah, eye-opening is the word, isn't it? That's the word I'm looking for. It's kind of like eye-opening. But it didn't start in the ambulance service. But I'm fascinated. But I think the ambulance service is the excellent place to start with how you got involved and you know, what you have seen in the ambulance service that kind of like shaped your reality to where you are now, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I take my hats off to all the free services.
Yeah.
You know, civil services.
Yeah.
They do a magnificent job. It's not an easy job.
No.
It was as violent then as it is now on night shifts in Blackpool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I don't want to go into detail.
Right.
Because there's many. I've been to murders, I've been to everything.
Yeah. So what I'm basically saying is you've seen life. You're not just some sort of one of these guys who sat in a robe in front of me who's the new ambassador to ET.
No.
That's what I'm getting at. You're not, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even spell the word.
Exactly. And you're not one of these people who's the chosen one, please buy my, you know, I've channeled Master Endros, although you do channel. I've channeled Master Endros, and here's my book at $21.99.
I don't channel.
Yeah. Well, you call it telepath, do you?
There's no such thing as channeling.
Why is there any such thing as channeling?
Everyone's a telepath. It's your belief or disbelief
I see. Right.
stops you.
So everyone's a telepath.
Everyone.
So, in what way then am I a telepath then?
Well, you know. I tell you, Tony. Every time you're going to phone me, I know that you're going to phone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And other people the same.
Yeah.
People that I'm connected to or close to.
Yeah.
I know when they're instantly going to phone.
Yeah.
Before the phone rings.
Yes.
So, you've had that experience.
Mm.
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Telepathy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to phone Tony. Boom. You know it's me before the phone even rings.
I mean, a skeptic, I can't argue that it's not telepathy at all. It's pure coincidence. I mean, what would you say to that? I know you don't like. I know
Keep
you don't.
taking the time. I'm sure they can cure you.
You said to me before you come on, I don't want to know about skeptics.
No,
I don't want to know anything about them.
No, because to me they hold up the evolution.
Yeah.
The conscious awareness of group society on this planet.
Which is interesting, really, because as I said to you earlier, some of these skeptics, some of these skeptics are not just skeptics; they're members of secret societies while being skeptics.
That I do not know. That I've had no contact with, and good luck to them. Everyone's got their experience of living.
Oh, I agree with you, but I think the hypocrisy is that they can be wheeled out on TV and say, "Oh, this doesn't exist, that doesn't exist," while doing something entirely different. I mean,
well, like I said on my website, my empathy lays with the forerunners.
Yeah.
These are the people that are changing reality step by step, even as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
This radio show is attempting to change something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it is.
But not people's minds.
No.
But to give them a different outlook.
Yeah.
On a different reality for them to take or not take. It doesn't.
That's it. I mean, I know we were at a conference, weren't we? And a guy started going on about Freemasons, didn't he?
Yeah.
Really hammering them.
Yeah.
And I think your listeners will be interested. You've got an unusual take about the Freemasons. I mean, what do you think?
I think they're bloody marvellous.
Yeah.
I'm a retired Freemason.
You're a retired Freemason, aren't you?
Let's put it this way. A lot of the building projects, a lot of the hospitals wouldn't have scanners if it weren't for the Freemasons. Mm-hmm. And I think there's personally a lot of dribble spoken about it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What they do at this 33-degree special place, I haven't the faintest. Mm-hmm. All I know is the guys on the shop floor, shall we say, in the lodges, they totally dedicate everything to raising money for Pacific charities.
I can see it now on the internet. Oh, he's just saying that Dex is a 33rd degree Mason. He's one of them. He's Illuminati.
Am I?
One of them.
It's really money, isn't it?
But that's right, isn't it? Because I think when you were going through a tricky situation, although you couldn't prove it, I think the Freemasons, you were a member of the Freemasons.
Yes. No, they did nothing for me.
No, they didn't do anything for you.
Not a damn thing.
Not a thing.
But if you leave a widow behind,
yes,
or children, they'll look after them.
Right. Yeah.
Or college to them, or university to them, if they've got that material in them.
So you think Freemasons and mysteries?
But for the man,
no.
They didn't do anything.
They didn't do anything for you.
I didn't ask them to, and they didn't volunteer to. So and there's no all this handshake. What's this handshake about? Oh God!
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
you're all in business together. I never witnessed any of that.
Right.
It's charity. It's about charity, and it's a set of beliefs that I found personally boring.
Yeah. Right.
Too repetitive for me.
Yeah.
I'm always seeking new things all the time.
Well, there's that bloke, isn't there? I mean,
The ritual, I can't understand the ritual.
exactly. But you're not one to follow gurus, are you?
No.
You're not one to kind of, and you've looked at Freemasonry, but you do have a keen interest in Sai Baba, who is somebody I know not a lot about. And I don't know, you know.
Sai Baba.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I think it was at that point that you had a real spiritual meltdown with everything when you were looking at his work, or or was it your spiritual meltdown leading you to his?
When the business went and when the marriage went, which I didn't grieve over, I hadn't realised I worked myself into a position where my feelings, sense of self, were bottomed, nil. I had no emotions, I had no feelings. I didn't realise it because over a long process, I've worked too hard. My kids have been growing up. I hadn't seen them. Quite often when you start a business and it's halfway successful and you don't really know what the hell you're doing.
So you're like a zombie then? You go into work, you're on autopilot, you don't register the realities around you.
This was after the event.
Oh, after the event,
After the event.
Yeah.
Right. And I welcomed the event, actually.
Yeah.
But I went to bed one night and the next thing I know, there was no tunnel of light. There was no journey outward. It was instantaneous. I went into my own, I went into my own awareness of life, my own divinity, right? And I knew instantly that I was smaller than the smallest atom, but brighter than the brightest suns. There is nothing out here. This is all illusion. The outer world is illusion. The inner world is where you actually reside. You are microscopic beyond. They'll never find you. But the good thing is, I was involved at that moment in time like a mist, a living mist. Now, I had no training in religion or anything. I was lucky in that way. I don't have to download anything. And this thing was, I don't know, like the web, like a web. But it was alive, and it dissipated. Just
read it. You say this thing was like a web and alive. Just to picture for the listeners, when that was going on, where were you sat? Where were you?
I was sat.
You weren't sat.
I was part of it.
You were part of, but were you asleep? Were you in bed? Were you?
Oh, sorry, no.
Picturing the scene.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because,
no, I was actually in bed. I put my head down on the pillow at 9:15 at night.
Yeah, right.
And I was out in the bed. I was there instantly. Right. I was watching it, but I was it as well at the same time. The languages out here don't cover this sort of thing, really. It's very inaccurate. It's frustrating for the person that's trying to relay this sort of stuff. This dissipated, and then there were beings. They were above me, behind me, left and right of me, below me, everywhere. They were light beings, and they were just loving me. They were so pleased to see me. There was no telepathy passed between any of us. The love was so pure, even to this day I can remember my first thought. Whoa, there's no strings attached. This is pure love. They're giving me pure love. But it wasn't until 6 months later I realised I was in the same type of body, my light body. Yeah? Some people might call it soul. I don't know. But I call it a light body. And I was giving them much love out. So I know, Tony, what's at your core. Pure love. It does exist. Not on this world, but it does exist. Alright? I then realised, like here, we take it for granted that I'm breathing air because the scientists said I did, and I've got no equipment to test that, but I presume, yes, I am breathing air. It's one of the fundamental parts of life in the physical form.
You probably know a thing about that being in the ambulance service.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know about
I like to stick, I wasn't a paramedic, I just like to stick to ABC, airway breathing consciousness.
Yes.
And if all the people out there just learnt that bit, there'll be a lot less accidents and a lot more help given. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to it. The whole thing, I was breathing I don't like words like God or Goddess. I really don't like them because those words imply that I know what a God is. I do not know what a God is. So I'd like to say it. I was in it. I was breathing it. It is most loving. It's fully conscious. I was not it because I was still in a dualistic state of being.
When you say,
I think a lot of the writings are wrong.
When you say a dualistic state of being, just clarify what you mean by that. I know what you mean by that, but I wonder if you just clarify, just simplify it slightly for those who might be new to this.
Right. Dualism. You're in dualism here now. That allows you to judge.
Yes.
That allows you to create various scenarios.
Yes.
That allows for you to, if you so wish, slag your best mate off behind his back, etc., etc. That's dualism. We are not in pure love. Even though through my experience, Tony, inside you is pure love. That's all you are. And that's why I say this planet's very special to me, because I come here into other worlds and I can be who I'm not. I'm still seeking to find that which I've experienced, that pure, unadulterated love.
That must have caused quite a shock to you then, because what we've got is a
phenomenal
story of you being a glassmaker, a zombified businessman, and going to a people who suddenly gets whacked with a reality that is kind of like supernatural is the wrong word. It's a spiritual experience, a profound, pure,
very profound.
Yeah, very profound, deep experience, isn't it?
But I can say this now: what religion is based on, it does exist. It does exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which brings me to something else. I used to do a lot of readings in pubs and that.
Yeah.
But the government, in their wisdom, or EU, in their wisdom, says that it's for entertaining purposes only because they can't prove it in a laboratory. Is what I can do is real. But then there is no laboratory that can prove that this thing, God, Goddess, exists either. So, to me, that is victimisation of people's beliefs. There's a lot of spiritualist people out there that believe in it.
That's an interesting comment. It's a very interesting comment. I never thought of it that way. You think that people who are spiritual, who have had experiences like you, or even me for that matter, are victimised. I think we are, aren't we? I think we're victimised by the media. I mean, you were victimised.
I'm not a victim, they are.
No, well, yeah.
They're the victims, not me.
No, exactly. But we run
they can't see past the left brain.
No, I mean, but do you not think that I mean, back to you, not me. Do you think that your role is to educate, or is it just to have an experience, or is it
everything?
It's everything. It's all in one, is it?
I wouldn't say I'm a great educator, not by a long shot, and I haven't set my stall out to be a teacher or anything of that nature. And if you find me interesting to talk to, if anything, I'm a gardener. I plant seeds, not purposely. I don't manipulate people, but I do plant seeds. I'll give you ways of seeing life that are slightly different from what the norm is.
It's surprising, isn't it? Because that experience you had, and going back to that, and where you've got these light beams looking at you and so on and so forth. Normally, then what would happen is that then you get this kind of like, what's the word we're looking for? You get the ego then kicking in, don't you? And you think that you're something special. But what is interesting about
a JC complex.
Yes, exactly. But what is interesting about you is that you have this profound experience, but continually, as you will go on talking about yourself, that you will know you've had this profound experience, but everything's going to hell in a handcart continually.
Oh yeah.
And it's a classic example, isn't it, of not noticing. But it's a profound experience. But as you told me the story about you, you know, it's an amazing example of not noticing until later on.
Oh, absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
I don't like the expression, and when you go to these various conferences and clubs, you talk to the individuals, some individuals, and they say, oh wow, yeah, this is fantastic, but my wife, she won't wake up. Who the hell are they to say when someone must open up their awareness to bigger life possibilities and potentials? I think that's arrogant. Anyone that says I'm out to wake people up, I'm sorry, you're not even in the marketplace. You're too arrogant. Go away for a few years and come back, and then work out, and then go and have a look in the nearest mirror, perfect that what you see, and then come back and then you might have the right to wake people up.
This is absolutely right. I mean, do you think there's too many gurus talking about that?
There aren't any gurus. There's people that fantasize.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That whole of life is a fantasy.
Yeah.
As real as it appears, and as real as it actually is.
Yeah, well, no, I mean...
Because we have dull senses, it's very, very physical. And it's superb. It's superb.
I mean, that experience you had, you see, dear listeners, I've had the same experience, but I won't go into detail because it's not about me, it's about Dex. But the interesting point to make is the experience you had is, I know exactly what it is. You say it's a spiritual experience, but in fact it's a mind-blowing physical experience. I
was going to come to that because I hadn't finished the story.
Exactly. So we're back to the story after going around the houses.
Yeah.
You've got the beams of light looking at you. You're running your glass business, and you've got this marvellous experience. Dex Dobie, carry on.
Right, it was at 9:15 when I went to bed. It was 4:10 in the morning when I woke up suddenly. Sat bolt upright in bed. The first thing I noticed, very physical, was every cell of my body was radiating, we'll call it cosmic love, pure divine love, my purest heaven. It came from the centre of my being, but it was actually activating every cell in my body.
Like having an orgasm.
Had you been in the bedroom, it would have killed you, because we haven't evolved. What took place was not a natural happening over a period of time for my physical form. It was instantaneous. And then I found out afterwards, I only had 14 days, otherwise my body would cease to function.
Sorry, you only had elaborate, so you only had...
Right, for 7 days and 7 nights from that journey, I was as pure as I'm going to be on this planet. I had no fear. All fear was eradicated. All thought of anything other than... In fact, I didn't think it was so peaceful to be me for 7 days and 7 nights.
Gosh, so
I think they call it enlightenment.
I didn't know
but
you did it over a week.
Your body has to evolve the same time as your awareness of self.
Right, that all makes sense.
You can't have one without the other, and that's where these people go wrong. You've got to prepare the body over a period of time. And we're not talking 2 hours. We might talk 1 million years. 2 million, 5 million. It doesn't matter. It could be next week. It's up to the individual's progress, etc., etc. It was funny.
I was under the impression, Dex, from what you're saying, that it was a one-off in the bedroom on a one night, but this lasted... I didn't know that, but it lasted 7 days.
Have you ever seen that poem, Footsteps?
Yes, I have.
In the sand.
Yes, I have, yeah.
I was carried for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Because you can't have that, I believe, that degree of awareness opening up. Self-awareness of life, and that's what it is about. It's actually about life getting a bigger reality together. You're carried. Literally. I was pushed, pulled. I never screamed, I never shouted. That's not my nature. I was sent straight to Tai Chi. What the hell's Tai Chi? I didn't know. And I found myself in the class, enrolled in the class, and all this energy's coming out of my hands. I'm hitting people as I move my hands, stinging them with bolts of energy. But all this slowly became common to me, if you will, over a period of time. And of course that arises, that's the donkey with the carrot, isn't it? It got me, nosing and said, whoa, what's this? Wow, what's that? Reading people's thoughts, reading their past lives instantaneously. It scared people. And even my eyes used to turn. You see the white rings, right? They used to glow. My emotions.
Don't look like that, man. She's scared me. It's quite intense.
But, I've got very intense eyes.
Well, you have.
Because I can look inside people.
Yes, I feel that now, actually. I feel you're looking at my very thoughts at the moment.
I'm looking beyond that.
I know. It's quite scary. Dex has got a scary stare about him, but it's not a scary stare, is it? But the thing is, you see, Dex, me all...
It's a seeker's.
Yeah, exactly. That you once again, you brush over Yeah, I went to Tai Chi and I did this.
Oh, Qigong.
Qigong, didn't you? But you see, you're brushing over it because there's a bit more to it than that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't there?
Yeah.
So, come on, tell us more. You had, not only, you had an amazing experience, didn't you, when driving, which I'm fascinated by.
Oh, that one. You like that one, don't you?
I do like it, yeah, and the listeners need to hear it. So, come on.
Right, I found myself in a flat after everything collapsed in South Shore, Blackpool.
Can I just ask you a question before you continue with that?
Yeah.
When your business collapsed, was this after the spiritual experience or before it?
Before. It had to be cleared out of the way.
Right, so...
Let me just jump in while something's hit me. The reason that I believe we've got a lot of crap going on in our planet at the moment is because we are evolving, you can't take the rubbish with you. We bury so much toxicity in our thoughts and feelings within our own being. I don't care who you are, right? You can't go into a larger reality of life with the same crap. So, like all rubbish tips, you bury in the most toxic stuff right in the bottom of the pit. But eventually, over a period of time, it will work itself to the surface. So that's what I believe we're going through now.
And with this process with you, it wasn't you once you want to play. Because you certainly haven't gone flouncing around after it, have you? I mean, I know when I was in London, there was some guys who, when I got involved in some kind of healing stuff, New Age stuff, there was some guy going round with a robe on and all that kind of thing, but not you. You were busy.
Well, that's his fantasy.
Well, it is, isn't it? But I mean, you've been a lorry driver, and you've done it all.
I even sold ice cream.
Yeah, exactly.
On the streets of London at Christmas time. I didn't do very well.
No, but it's this kind of like this fantastic life experience that you have that centres all around these other experiences. But I still want, the incident in the car, the out of body stuff, which I found amazing. I just personally like this story that you're driving along in the car and
right. I'm driving along from Blackpool to Fleetwood, where I managed to get a job because I was a glass sculptor and someone wanted to make use of my talents. So I'm going along the promenade. All of a sudden, my eyes, my vision is in the back of my head. It's a long dark tunnel. I'm actually seeing the two slits where my eyes would be from inside my own head. I can see my mouth, right, slightly open, catching flies. I can see the speedo. I can see my hands moving the steering wheel. I can see my hand moving the gears, and I'm dead on 30 miles an hour, which is, for me, unknown. My brain doesn't work that slow.
Well, you were doing 150 the other day for Blackpool, weren't you? But anyway, carry on, yes.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Anyway, you're out of body, you're looking at you driving.
No, I'm not out of body.
You're not out of body. You're in your body.
I'm in the body.
For my own frame of mind...
My consciousness has shifted backwards.
Right.
And allowed me to have this experience. It was totally dark.
Yes.
Totally black. I could not see any windows, windscreen. All I could see was a dashboard and what my hands were doing periodically.
Right.
And I drove better in that condition without seeing where I was going.
Yeah.
And over the roughly 8-mile trip, it was only on the outskirts of Fleetwood that I came back and to use my own eyes and see where I was. Up until then, the 8-mile journey was right. Fantastic experience. Very, very calming. You don't hear sounds or anything. It happened on the way back from work a few weeks later. The same thing. I left Fleetwood Glass, hit the roundabout, and from once I went around the roundabout, bang! I was back in the same condition, looking out through the back of my head. But I was inside the body. I was not removed from the body. This stuff you won't find in books.
So were you stripped away of any limitations?
No, listen.
Sorry,
I did the same journey back to South Shore, but the difference was when I hit what they call the Gin roundabout on the promenade at Blackpool, I was shown a massive big mansion type baronial hall with its own drive. Now maybe that's in the future, maybe it is not. That I do not know, and I'll text you as soon as I find out as my life unfolds. But that's what I was shown. Then I came back into the normality of driving, right? No one was in danger. You're more in danger with me driving out of that state than in it. Because it's all engineered, it's geared. Maybe by your higher self, maybe by it, maybe by the ETs? I don't know. That's immaterial because you can get yourself caught up with that, right? Looking for the detail. So, it happened a third time. Slightly different again. I was running the glass department in Fleetwood Glass PLC. It got to dinner time. A rep came in, and actually I quite fancied her, to be quite honest. She was a lovely lady, really nice looking, about the same age as me. And she was talking to me, and all of a sudden, I went back into inside my own head. Like, it looks like you can't measure it, but so I moved a foot back from my eyes and mouth. I could see my mouth moving. I could see through the openings of my eyes. Right? That lasted, I don't know, there's no clocks there. I came back, because this is the third time it had took place. I went to see a friend, a lady friend, in Blackpool at the weekend, and she said, wow, I had a strange experience. I said, what? She said, I had a really rubbishy night's sleep last night. I could not get it. She said, and I was really distressed today. She was very, she was a bag of nerve endings, bless her, yeah? And she said, well, and she said, I was sitting in the armchair, really restless, and you suddenly appeared. So I said, yeah. Oh, I had this happen dozens of times. She said, you suddenly appeared. And she said, you walked over to me, you put both fingers in my forehead, either side. And she said, I woke up 4 hours later like a 2-year-old. Right? I said, oh yeah, right. What was I wearing? Da 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 da. Exactly right. She wouldn't have known what I was wearing because I was 8 miles away. So she, and I thought, okay, you verified because you knew what I was wearing. And since then, oh God, yeah, I've been seen all over the place. When you start this type of journey, you get what I refer to as doppelganger. It's like you're on an express ride at times where you physically are witnessed and speak to other people at the same time. You can be in 2 or 3 different places. This is not unusual stuff when you get into this stuff, right? It's very real because you are then connecting and interacting with other people that will swear on a stack of Bibles that you were at so-and-so when you know you were elsewhere. But they spoke to you. One woman came up to me and said, how did you enjoy the conference in Liverpool? I said, what? She said, how did you enjoy the conference? We had dinner together and we were speaking all day. I said, no, I was out shopping on Saturday, love, in Fleetwood. And I could not convince her that I had not been there.
Time shift.
Bilocation. Physical bilocation. Yeah. Not unusual.
No.
It's unusual if you've never come across it or experienced it.
Yeah, indeed.
There's so much that is not written in books that actually we come with all this phenomenal technology, but we were told we had no technology, and most of our Western religions are disgusting anyway because you're born a sinner. You ain't going to get off square one in life.
Which religion really
I don't name things.
You don't name things. You couldn't specifically name a religion.
That's their belief system, that's fine.
Yeah.
But to me, you're holding up my evolution of my world. And it is my world. Yeah. Like it is your world. And it is a beautiful world and it's a fantastic playground. But we've come to maybe the end of a time period where we are affecting our cousins of the stars. And if you think planet Earth doesn't affect them, we are interdimensionally affecting races that come here in their craft that can jump time zones. They can jump realities. So we're affecting a lot of things. We are not a cancerous cell in the great body of creation. We are an infantile planet that's learning to take its first steps.
Yeah.
But we have to get rid of the aggro, the violence, not out there, in here, in ourselves.
I agree with you totally. I think we'll learn the hard way though, Dex. I think we'll...
then we will surely... I think if there's enough people of you thinking like that, then we will do it the hard way.
No, we will.
You are co-creating your reality.
Yes, we are co-creating.
But you're also co-creating mine.
Yeah, but if you walk down the high street in China or North Korea, you've got a mindset that's psychotic.
That's not mine. It's not my mindset. So why should I worry about it? My mindset is the opposite.
But we are creative of the same source that you are talking about.
The 100 monkey syndrome.
Yeah, true.
Do you believe that is true?
Yeah.
That the scientists found out.
I do.
Back in the 50s.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it will be an easy process.
Who said anything's easy? It's worth having.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I don't think it's going to be an easy process. I don't think the Space Brothers are going to be here to save the day. But back to what you were saying about
not until we go through this roughly 4-year period.
Yeah.
It wasn't about 2012.
No.
This started over 2,000 years ago.
Yes, yeah, we're it's heading somewhere. Of that, there's no doubt. What I was going to say was, I know that you've got a keen interest in UFOs. What I'm interested to know is about the nuclear issue side of things. You know, we've got these nuclear weapons. These countries have got them. Do you think that ET that flies over and time travels, etc., using technology that is actually far in advance of ours, are bothered about all this?
Yes.
You do. You think they're concerned, do you?
Yes, they are very concerned. According to my sources, there's roughly 25 different societies, civilizations from different dimensions, not just this dimension.
Yeah.
What we call the universe.
25.
25.
That's interesting.
Key players in planet Earth's evolution.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we suddenly appeared 200,000 years ago. Where from? They're looking for this missing link. They ain't never going to find one.
No.
We're the original test tube babies.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And to tell you what, when I first saw, what they call it, you know, guy with the pointy ears, I've forgotten. Star Trek. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back in '63.
Yes.
Black and white telly. I was mesmerised, but I also realised that we're going out there, because I've been out there. Anyway, I've been out there, so we will be interfering until we grow up to appreciate life. Life is not precious because there is only life. It's what you do in it that is precious.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's very true. That's when it all relates to that spiritual experience you had over the 7 days, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, I never finished it. I never finish anything.
I know, exactly, but it does, doesn't it? Because that's where all the reference point is.
On the 7th night,
yes,
I went to sleep.
Yes.
I had the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Instantly, I was in, and it was more real than talking to you here.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a dream. I've never dreamt in all my life, by the way. So I do not dream. I don't know why. I have no memory of dreaming. I very rarely even move in bed. Anyway, I found myself following what looked like a young woman. She had blue jeans on. She had a blue top on, like a woolly top. And we were in a Victorian mansion. It was night time. There was no furnishings. It was spotlessly clean. There was no curtains up. And as we walked through this room, through the window was shafts of light. We walked through a dividing doors that were open into the next big room. And to the left was a window, and the moonlight was coming through. It was very, very, very serene. Beautiful. And we got halfway across towards the next door, and she stopped. I stopped. And she very, very slowly turned round. And I was looking, watching, and when I saw what was supposed to be a face, it wasn't. It was pure, unadulterated evil. As 7 nights before, I had experienced pure, unadulterated love. I was now experiencing the exact opposite. That had to bring me back into duality, if I found out afterwards. It had to ground me, because I couldn't be here more than 14 days. My body had not evolved to that extent where I had no fear of anything, where I had no silly thoughts rattling through my head. You know, monkey syndrome in top of the head, yeah? Instantly, I can remember this to this day, instantly, I somehow through sheer unadulterated fear, managed to jump in a horizontal position in the air and ended up the other side of the end of the bed, big double bed. The sweat was every square millimetre of my body was running water. I'd advise it if you want to do slimming, but I don't advise it because I don't think many people would take what I witnessed. Where did we go from there? I couldn't get back in bed. In a split second, the bed was awash with water. My water content in the body, literally, saturated everything. Right? I have never felt such fear, but then I have never felt such pure love. This was a whole thing, a whole scenario to give me back into this reality, because I wasn't in it, even though I was here. So, you know, you can't evolve faster than you can handle spiritually, mentally, physically. A lot of people do the conscious thing. No, sorry. As far as I'm aware, in my experiences, no. You've got to bring all three together at the same time.
When you say a lot of people do the conscious
well, they do this
thing.
meditation stuff and all that.
Right, yeah.
But they don't realise it takes all the three components to come together.
Yes, of course.
In a duality reality.
Yes, yeah.
You don't need it when you're not here. Well, I didn't. That's my experience. But I was still dualistic. I knew I wasn't with. I knew I was in it, but not it. There's a lot of books about, you know, how you aim for. You don't want to come back here anymore. You want to merge with it, God, Goddess, it.
Yeah, when the
right.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you'll realise there are three components to doing that, and it's through evolution, not any Tai Chi, not any Qi Kung. These are all flashbangs, but they're very educational.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you.
Talk about look inside yourself, because there is nothing out there that's worth looking at.
That's absolutely right.
And that's not a selfish act.
No,
it's the most unselfish act you can do to self, because you learn about love.
Yes, yeah. I'm with you all the way, kid. Having had a similar experience, I know exactly where you're coming from. And it is about being a conscious vehicle, isn't it? It is about being fully connected to the kind of the Godhead with things while enjoying a physical and spiritual incarnation on this plane, as it were, on this plane of
that's your reality, go with it.
Absolutely right, you know, and there's going to be challenges that are going to be coming your way left, right and centre, and as you say, you can only
maybe not.
Or maybe not, and you can only evolve at a pace that you can go at. Which is
what you've got to realise is, what you've got to realise, you've had billions of life experiences.
Yeah.
Now then, let's look at two things. You said earlier about reincarnation. A lot of people believe in reincarnation. A lot of people think that through their teachings of religious or whatever, this is a one-off shot and nothing exists after you leave here. Okay?
I don't subscribe to that view myself.
Well, you should, because they're both right.
Yeah.
But they don't realise it.
Yeah,
both are wrong.
I get what you mean.
You're an eternal being.
Yeah.
It's been around forever.
I understand that.
So the first group are right.
Yeah.
It's a one-off.
Yeah.
Because life is a one-off and there's nothing else.
No.
It goes forever. The second lot, reincarnate, are right, but they're wrong. Life is permanent. It's ongoing no matter what shade of awareness you're at, or what body or outer body you're in.
Correct.
Okay? So both are right, but both are wrong. Duality at play. And they're both the same thing at the same time.
What do you in the ambulance service coming across the guy in the garden with his gas mask on, and he'd kind of like done himself an injury and all that kind of thing?
Well, that was the first experience of that type of incident. Yeah.
Yeah, you cope with it.
Oh, God, yeah, there's nothing not to cope with.
Yeah.
Do you know one of the reasons I got out of the ambulance service?
No, go on. I'm interested.
Because after 10 years, on the way back to the ambulance station, you'd stop and get some dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you didn't bring sandwiches. You stopped and got fish and chips. On the way back to the station, you get in there, the bell goes, bang, there goes your fish and chips, you're back out on an emergency.
Yeah.
And the moment I realised, damn, bell's gone, I'm getting hardened to this, I need to get out.
Really? So the moment it started interrupting your fish and chips, it was time to go.
Time to go. You weren't putting. You weren't putting stuff. Yeah, because you were hardening. You don't realise over a period of 10 years.
Yeah.
You don't realise just how hardened.
You get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing your best.
No.
But silly little things like fish and chips get in the way of your thought processes and your emotions. It's more important that I finish my fish and chips than I go out to tackle whatever. It's an inconvenience. So no, it's time to go.
You're a fascinating bloke, Dex. You're a fascinating. You're a fascinating guy to speak to. It's just a pity that the first radio broadcast didn't go like this, because I think you're a fascinating guy to listen to.
No,
you appeared on we're coming up to the top of the hour of the show, and what I want to do is we'll go into that about the little media thing that happened. But we want to go into now your kind of, I think, your UFO experiences, your research. We'll get into that next, because we're coming to the top of the hour. But what I'm thinking is, the media incident that happened to you with a certain radio station.
Yes.
We won't name names, but he's a nice lad, the guy who presents it, no problem with him. But, it was kind of like, it was a bit of a baptism of fire, wasn't it? And you were kind of like...
Well, I took along, he asked me to bring photographs. We put it into one of his spare computers. He chose what photograph he wanted to show on the web page of the radio station. And he then got to that part where he wanted to show them. So I was watching them on the screen. I never got a chance to explain what they were, how they came about, anything to do with the experiences. And the photographs I have on the website are so unique. I don't think there's anything else on the web like it.
Yeah, but there are some good photographs. We sometimes don't agree with what you think they are and what I think they might be. But there are some super photographs you've taken over. Is it over Southport? Was it over?
The fleet of UFOs?
Yes, and it's a truly amazing photo.
I don't think nothing of it.
Yeah, I was. Well, you get to the stage where you don't think. I mean, last night, dear listeners, today we're pre-recording. Today is Tuesday. Last night we had a UFO come over here, where we are, where we're located currently, and for us it was just a run-of-the-mill, usual thing that kind of happens. So anyway, Dex, photos. You're in the radio studio.
Yeah. Well, I never got a word in edgeways because the guy to the right of me was a skeptic.
Yeah.
And when I came into the studio and had to sit beside this guy, I didn't like the vibes I was getting. Okay? He wasn't hostile, anything like that. It was very charming and all that. There was just something about him that didn't gel with me. And he's like the mouthpiece, a skeptic. Well, I'm not interested in skeptics. Okay? And if you do a little bit of research on the guy, he's got no qualifications, no experiences, I believe, to warrant talking to me in the manner he did, trying to prove me wrong. Because all he is thought forms in his own head, and normally regurgitated from other people's work. Okay? There's millions out there like that on the internet. They haven't got their own experiences.
There's a lot of it about that.
And that's their experience, and that's fine. But then, the main interviewer said, "Oh, I suppose you'd like to talk about the Hopi prophecy now." Well, now he asked me, and I said no.
What do you?
I said no. I don't want to talk about the Hopi. It's boring.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk about the photographs.
Yeah.
The Hopi prophecy is what it is. Go and read it yourself, for God's sake. I want to show you something that's not of this dimension. And you're ignoring it, But I couldn't get this whole thing across. Then I was set up by the guy on the right. He said, how far is it from Lucy's planet in the Virgo system to Earth? I haven't the faintest, because I've never looked anything up. So I asked Lucy, right? She gave me some ridiculous figure. I didn't know the truth or whatever, right? And I said, and then of course everyone's got a smug, sickly looking face on them. Oh yeah, we proved him wrong. I didn't know I was wrong. Right? But Lucy told me afterwards, she tore me off a strip, not to disrespect her or what we're about, because I turned her into a entertainment for the radio people. Okay? And I got tore off a strip by Lucy for that. We'll get into Lucy afterwards. And rightly so. I disrespected our positions. All right?
What do you mean better off saying I've no idea?
Yeah, but I was trying to, you know, to me it was nothing. I speak to Lucy, or I speak to Anna, or any of them.
Yeah, you see, really, the heart of the matter is that you've got all this amazing background of life experience and what you've done. And the thing is with it is we're going to go into now, because we're just coming up to the top of the hour on the show. Right. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at your UFO experiences. And we're also going to have a look at something I was interested in, is that you've also done, I think you've done exorcisms, haven't you, and stuff like that.
I've cleared hotels.
You've cleared hotels. So we're going to start, I think what we'll do is we'll have a chat, because the listeners will be really interested to know about the fact that you've cleared hotels. And I know, just sharing an experience with the listeners, about a dowser in Cornwall who was telling me of an incident he had in a hotel, where he was called up to a hotel because every time the staff of the hotel went into the toilets, they'd hear screams and the doors would go bang, and all hell would break loose. This dowser is a very accurate dowser. He's very, very good at what he does. Basically, he was telling me that he'd gone into the hotel toilet himself with his dowsing kit and detected that the fact of the matter was there was an energy line going straight through that toilet door. It was like, he described it as like an energy line where people pass over into the afterlife kind of thing. And he described the fact that what was happening was the people on that energy line who had departed were looking back at the people in our current reality and going, oh my God, what are them? And hence the screaming and so on. And what he somehow did with all his dowsing and everything, and this guy he's very good at what he does, is he was telling me he diverted the energy line so that it flowed around the hotel instead of inside it. I just thought it was a fascinating incident.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that you could present that in the mainstream media as something like this. But Ray is a dowser in Cornwall, and he evicts ghosts from toilets in hotels. You know, when in fact he's actually top at what he does. He detects water here, there, and everywhere. He's highly professional.
Yeah,
and he knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
Doesn't he? And the thing is you get this stupid ridicule in the media, like you had, where they didn't know your life experiences, they didn't know what you were, they're not interested, and they should be. Anyway, so moving onwards, but you, Dex Dobie, have cleared hotels, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
And I just find it fascinating, and the listeners will. So go on, tell us more.
I've done something in the car as well.
Have you?
Yeah. There's a lot you don't know, Tony.
There's a lot I don't know. We'll have words about that later. What
Yeah.
happened in the car?
Hey?
No, sorry, the hotel. Oh my God. Oh my days. No, the hotel. Let's stick with the hotel, for God's sake.
Yeah. Well, I was just called in. Someone knew that I did this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not professionally. It's just that you can assist people. So I went to the hotel. I wandered around with my notepad, because that's the way I like to do it, big notepad. And I just went from the basement, worked my way up, and got to a room, not over a large room, on the corner of the building. And there I felt a presence, and I got talking to this presence, and I always write everything down as it's happening, because I don't have to look at the pad. They call it automatic writing, it just happens. Anyway, it turned out this lady was waiting for her husband to return from the war. And she was stuck in that. Her emotions at passing into the afterlives had created her to be stuck. Part of her was stuck in this reality, right? Of that room, looking out the window for her husband, which never returned from the First World War. And I got talking to her, right? Nice lady. I saw her, what she was dressed in. She had a long black skirt, quite a buxom lady. She had a white blouse on with some frills down the front. In fact, I can see her now, actually. She's not here present, but I can see her in my mind's eye. And it got turned round. I said, have you got children? That's quite often a gateway with women. Have you got children? Yes, I've got two, a boy and a girl. What were their names? And she gave me their names. The moment you do that, other realities open up. Her children, who were in that side of life, could advance towards her. And I'm glad to say the reunion was fantastic. She thanked me, and that was it. She just dissipated.
That's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible.
No, because there's only life.
No, I find it incredible. I know it's only like that. I just find it. I just find the complexity of it all quite quite staggering. It's quite the complexity of it all is quite staggering. But when did you have your first UFO encounter? Of course, you've told us that you've had this kind of deep supernatural spiritual encounter, which actually I would say that with some of these ETs, that is actually a permanent mindset over the years, over the eons that have evolved. I would say. All
the ETs I have ever had contact with are very loving beings. They're very respectful. They do understand reality, and what it does to reality. From my point of view, they do realise that partially this planet is here to the planet of experience. Okay, co-creating the experiences you won't get where you came from.
But you've not read that in any book, have you? What you've just quoted there?
No.
You don't read books. You're not really a book reader, and yet we've got stacks of books.
We've got stacks of books here, and I'll be lucky if I've ever read 97% of it. I've never read.
Absolutely.
I now pick up a book. In the first page, by the second page, I will fall asleep, literally. I go into a coma.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's no point in reading books.
From the UFO perspective, you say that there was two characters that were not characters. That's certainly the wrong word. But you say there was two beings or entities that came in, and one was called Lucy.
Lucy, L-U-C-I.
Yeah, which they all sniggered and smirked at, and over at the radio station that you gave another interview for. I'm just fascinated. I mean, I just listen on.
There's Anta. In fact, I've actually got pictures of Anta.
Yes, and somebody drew a picture of Lucy, didn't they? A psychic.
Yes, that was behind the scenes. Planned, executed, fantastic.
Yeah, this is it. And
all these individual stories. I'll have to write a book, mate.
Well, you're going to need to, aren't you? Because the rate you're going. I mean, okay.
I haven't finished yet.
I'll be perfectly straight with you. I don't believe the size of Anthra's UFO. I don't believe the size. No, I don't. I don't. But I don't believe that. That he's. The thing is,
that's quite small.
I mean, we've often reflected, though, haven't we? That these experiences with these UFOs sometimes are not doing us any favours. Or are they? I don't know. I think it's not as we...
Yeah, again, I can only speak.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they've been abducted. Maybe they have, maybe they have not. I don't know. It's not my experience.
Last night you showed us a cut on your leg, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you've had experiences of
I get regular medical checkups with them.
Yeah, you have, and you've got the scars to prove it. And you've had the odd incident on a morning where they've been coming in.
Oh yeah.
Which you will have.
It's all good tack. It's all good tack.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're evolving as a species, and I think and you say this ET called Lucy.
She's a doll.
Is she a doll? Is she?
Oh,
so she's what, like a 7-foot Nordic alien?
No, she's about 4 foot 10, 5 foot maybe.
Yeah.
At a pinch.
Small.
Very small.
Yeah.
Very big. As a being.
How did that? I mean, was it dramatic as the experience you had where you?
No, it was very loving.
A very loving experience.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
How did it happen?
Right, I was in a flat in St Anne's. Very hot day, so I said to the wife, who was wife then, I said, right, I'm just going to go and lay on the bed.
Yeah.
To meditate, which I don't never do.
Yeah.
So why I said that on the pages, I realised afterwards.
Let's be right about this. You had your 12 wives on the go and you were a Hyrene Dex, didn't you, at the time?
Yes, that's why I'm a former shadow of myself.
Anyway, go on, Lucy. Hot day. Yeah, we'll go on anyway.
So I'm laying on the bed.
Yeah.
I shut my eyes.
Yeah.
Instantly, this being, this ET, beige in colour.
Beige in colour, yes.
Beautiful, staring blue eyes.
Yeah.
Instantly, she smiled.
Yeah.
And there was such love emitted into my body that it stopped me breathing. Yeah, again, we're back to this evolution of the body.
But it's interesting you don't dream.
No, I don't dream.
So how would you visualise something like that if you have a job on?
It wasn't a visualisation. It was actual
so
real time.
I'm sorry, so there's actual physical interaction.
I don't meditate, but I was made to go and meditate on the bed so Lucy could introduce herself.
Oh, I get you, right. Okay, that's
simple as that.
Yeah, right.
The mechanics of all this stuff are very simple.
Right, okay.
There's an end object to it.
Right, come on, I'm dying to know more.
It's not paranormal, it's science.
It's science.
Sciences.
So Lucy, you laid on the bed.
And I couldn't breathe.
And you couldn't breathe. Right.
No. Now, if Lucy was in that state and walked into this room or manifest into this room right now, it would kill us. We'll drop dead literally in a split second. Our bodies can't contain that amount of pure love. The vibration's far, far out there. To experience something what we call love on this world is so diluted, but it's a start.
I think you've got a point. It is diluted. It's very diluted.
It's diluted through duality.
Yes, it is diluted.
Because we judge. Yeah. Am I in love with this person? Am I not in love with this person?
Indeed.
When someone says, I think I'm in love with you, no, you're thinking it. You're not feeling it. Get out of the head and into the heart, and then let me know how you feel about me. Okay? Watch the words that people describe their reality. It's so, so important. They actually describe what they've created and they're actually living in. And you'll find in this I hate to new age, it's not new age. In this opening awareness age, I found that a lot of people are saying, you know, I ain't coming back here. Oh no, I'm going on to higher things. I just look at them and I think, okay, I know where you're at. I know where you're at. I wish you well. Go and kid someone else because you're kidding, you know what I mean? You're not kidding me, sunshine. Because the next thing they'll say brings them back into this reality. They're not an enlightened being. They run around like there's something special, and they're not. We're all special. All special. There is no exception, no matter what you think you've done, what you've been judged for, or anything else. We go back to that baseline, life. Co-creating life. Second by second. You woke up this morning just like I did. And on your chest symbolically was a book. And as you woke up, the thing flipped open. What was written on it? Nothing. There were blank pages. So what are you going to create in that book, your life book today? What are you going to write in it?
Do you think Lucy has the same perception?
Lucy has her own perception.
Right. Does she write a book with a reality?
They don't write books on their worlds.
They don't.
Not as far as I know. I never asked her, actually.
No,
I presume.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that they're going...
They don't have walls. They don't have money.
No.
Everything is like old sea lights are bringing on this world. You have to plant seeds. You don't see them grow, but you plant seeds. Why the hell are we holding on to a system called financial wealth when there isn't such a thing? It brings nothing but misery to 99% of the population of this world, which are subservient to it. But on the other hand, look at the experiences that they get from it. Both things at the same time again. Now if you want to judge things, good and bad, it's bad but it's good. There you go. Life's simple. The understanding, you'll go deeper and deeper keeping things. I would advise anyone, don't do mental gymnastics like the skeptics do. Because they're just wearing their life force out. I don't want to do that. I want to look at things so simply that understandings come much quicker.
Well, no, very true. And you, as I say, you've not read any books on spiritual subjects as such. I mean, you got to a point where you were levitating off the bed and all that kind of thing, which you know, and you may think, oh, that's staggering, but with the right combination of energy flow through the chakras, through the energy centers, you will lift. You definitely will.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. Is there? But I mean, how long's this alien Lucy been hanging around? I mean, are you in contact with her, or
she's always in contact with
always in contact?
The same as Anthony. Once you've made this telepathic connection.
Right, with an alien.
Yeah, well, if they go on the website, once we've finished rebuilding it, they'll see about water of the body, how telepathy works.
Yes.
Telepathy is mediumship. They like to call it mediumship in the spiritual movements. I prefer to call it what it is, telepathy.
Right, yes.
We are all telepathic.
Yes.
Unless you believe you're not.
Right.
And this is, we're into an area of, what do I believe? Yeah, again, duality at play. So you're going to judge what you believe instead of just being open and let it all happen.
And going with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
there's nowhere else to go.
No, that's absolutely correct.
That does not make you haphazard.
But
you've
done a load of channeled pieces, haven't you, from this ET called Lucy?
Lucy, Anther, Onal.
So how many? So there's kind of like, how many ETs are you involved with?
The main three have been Anther, Lucy, and Orion.
And who's answering?
And Ornall's not an ET.
And Ornall is not an ET.
He's wonderful. He's an interdimensional being. He's a genetic mechanic, and life sends him in to alter certain situations on planets and people and populations in their infancy. As far as I understand what he told me. You wouldn't actually see him because he's more transparent than he's not. You know, these beings are at that level where the physical form is null and void. But maybe in his reality he does have a physical body. But to my reality, I wouldn't see him.
You came out with a term, didn't you? What was it? Was it midfarers?
Midwayers.
Midwayers. That's not a term I've heard of. It's based on your experience, isn't it? Because it's not a term I've heard of.
Oh no, you can check it out on the internet.
Oh, it's there, is it? Yeah. Right. Okay. I was going to say that looks all very interesting. What does Alpha bring to the table then in the sort of party?
Oh, he's my mate.
A mate of yours, is he?
He's a very good friend.
A very good friend.
We're 8'5".
8'5". Yeah, they are about that in height, but that's another story. Where does he come? Where does he? Back to the drawing board. Yeah, listen at him. He's got 8-foot aliens in his bedroom, and that pillock of a presenter. He's just said yes, they are. You wonder what planet they're on. Anyway, I'll just go for the fish and chips. That's duality, isn't it? You see, that's about free will, isn't it? Duality and free will, isn't it? For people to do that, to experience.
Oh God, yeah.
Isn't it?
It
certainly is about that. But come on, Dex.
Yeah, she set it up nice for us.
Well, yeah. Now that's an interesting word you've just come out with. She set it up nice for us because you have studied, in terms of these UFO experiences that you've had, and you've channeled them, but you've also, done channeled work on something called the Goddess, and that had a big impact on you. Massive impact on you, didn't it? And the thing is that you also ended up studying something I am quite interested in, the fifth way of the Goddess Sekhmet, Robert Masters'
Sekhmet?
Yes, yeah, which is absolutely Robert Masters' book, The Path of the Fifth Way, is a very powerful book about meditation and contacting the goddess from ancient Egyptian times. It's absolutely an amazing piece of work. It's something I'm interested in.
I've got an amazing video clip of her tomb.
Yeah, right, yeah, really.
Did I show you it?
No,
it's on that laptop.
Is it really? Oh, right, you'll have to
orbs in that. There must be 1,000 orbs.
Yes, we'll go. We'll talk about.
In fact, what we'll do, we'll put that on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll download it onto the website with what the conversation was with Sekhmet.
Yeah, okay, that sounds absolutely.
Because she said the Egyptians got it totally wrong. Yeah. About her.
She, yes, there's some interesting. Even I found that interesting what you said about that, and I can't remember it verbatim. But there were some interesting comments about that, considering that Robert Masters and all of them, they were channeling her as well via invocation, which is something I'm not a strong believer in.
She actually did say the book is wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
She told me the book is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's when she gave me the explanation.
Right. What article is that on your website? Can you remember? Because I'm not quite
sure. It is under Sekhmet.
It is under Sekhmet. Anyway, it's an interesting article that listeners on Dex's website, which is dexdobie.com. And interestingly enough, as I say, Dex, you've had the contact with these ETs.
Yeah.
But more importantly, in the framework of the what happened to you when you were laid on the bed, you had that deep spiritual experiences over 7 days. The goddess, how did that come into your life?
Understanding
as a male.
Right. We are both components because we're in a duality reality. In fact, we're neither. Our baseline is we're neither. No more than any god, goddess, or it could be it. This is part of our playground illusion, if you will. The fact that women are women and men are men and they're two separate. No. Goes always to the baseline. I'll tell you something. I worked out this for myself, and if it helps any of the listeners, we walk round what we'll call, like the Tibetans think, a wheel of life. A lot of the Eastern stuff goes on the circle. The wheel of life. And you're walking round the rim and you're looking down the spokes, and I'll go and have this adventure, and I'll go and have... It takes forever and it's very wearing. Realise you are the hub, not the spokes, not the outer wheel. You only have to move very, very slightly to look down each spoke, each adventure, each co-created potential in all levels of your being. It's a lot less tiring, and you'll find a lot more answers that you're asking. So be the hub, not the wheel. That's my advice.
You see, but the thing is that, I mean, we are, I think as human beings, we are collectively attached to that hub, aren't we? You know, that's the thing with
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we are.
It's had its day.
Yeah, yeah.
The Eastern religions have had their day.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Because none of them agree with each other.
No, indeed.
They've got a rough theme in the East, and in the West there's another rough theme.
Yeah.
They're neither right nor wrong, none of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never get, this is my advice, never get stuck in where you're at. What is empowering you to be involved in what you're doing? And you go behind it, go beyond it. Because otherwise you've created a habit reality. And you'll find that going to church on a Sunday is all you know. It's just a habit.
Well, I mean, the church religions are based on kind of like
the mosque, the church, all of them.
All of it is based on something else, isn't it?
It's based on don't put your head above the box and look.
Yeah, indeed so.
There is nothing wrong with being in the box if that's what your experience entails. All I'm saying is there's other potentials and options.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. But you see, in early civilizations, they were worshipping the goddess, weren't they?
Yes,
very much so.
Yeah.
And this has a great impact on. Well, it's had an impact on your life, hasn't it? Because it's affected you a great deal.
Absolutely.
At every level as a man, hasn't it?
It's made me more feeling. I have great empathy with females. I understand females.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
At a base level.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I understand men at a base level.
Yeah. Yeah. But what is interesting about it is that it develops, not only does it develop a female component, but it develops a very strong masculine component to one's personality, which I find rather fascinating. It's as if at some level one polarity is co-creating with the other polarity at a subliminal level.
Well, maybe in our society, I would say a man, for the female, has to catch up and grow and evolve to the same level of strength or awareness as the male component.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But yet again, beyond that, there isn't any male or female, so what the hell?
No, well, no.
but for this experience, this adventure,
there's that interesting stuff to do with. It's actually to do with the folklore with Ireland, isn't it? About the fact that there's that thing where they, I think it was the Elohim, and they mated with the daughters of men, and they were fair. And I think there's that famous thing in Irish folklore where the ancient history and the ancient records dictates that incident that happened with the Elohim and the others, where they mated with the sons, with the daughters, of men, was to this day. That's because now there are no women in key areas of power. Because of that, it was absolutely abhorrent what they did. And that stigma. They
turned a female goddess into a male god.
Yes.
And then the men based it on a very warlike outlook culture. Conquer and divide.
Yes, they did. What I'm talking about is the fascinating bit about the folklore or the history or historical background regarding the fact that there are not women in key positions of power.
No, there isn't.
There isn't. No.
But the same folklore belongs to Sumeria.
Yes, it does indeed. Yeah,
and the clay tablets, so believed. But in those clay tablets, the first race they built went wrong.
Yeah,
they wanted a load of slaves, right? And they created giants.
Yes.
Well, if you go on the website, you will see one that got dug up.
Yes.
Dug up in Ireland.
Yes.
And it's on record in the Manchester Evening News. It toured Liverpool and Manchester. Yes. But the significance and the connection to Sumeria is, on one toe it's got 6 toes. On one foot it's got 6 toes. Now the giants they built had 6 fingers or 6 toes. And that thing on that picture is leaning up against a railway carriage on the railway track with the crate. It weighed 2 3/4 tons. That's one hell of a bouncer.
Well, we had
It is 14 foot plus high.
And it went mysteriously missing, didn't it?
It went to Liverpool Street Station in the 1800s, about 1886 I think it was, and lost luggage lost it.
Yeah.
How you do that with...
No, it'll be in the British Museum somewhere, in some Indiana Jones style...
or maybe religionists.
Yeah.
You know, remember, Victoria was still on the throne, and, you know, everything was top show.
Yes, it was, yeah. Oh, no.
And we're still suffering from it in our generations now.
Yeah. I think, well, the question being, do you think that mankind is suffering because we are no longer appreciated of the goddess? Do you think man is suffering because we don't understand it anymore? We've lost our way with it, what it really was all about. And instead we've got these religions, Dex, haven't we? We've got Islam at war with Christianity since the time of the Crusades. We've got all this divide and rule.
Yeah, but it has provided trillions and trillions of experiences, co-created experiences. That's what I keep coming back to.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
This is the planet of co-creation.
Yeah. Yeah, so at some level, with all these wars and conflicts, at some level it's part of a grander scheme is what you're basically
I don't think there's any scheme. We're writing it second by second as we all go along.
You think so?
The ETs do the same.
You think so?
There's no fixed pattern.
No fixed pattern.
We are creators. So that's the bottom line.
All these soothsayers then who predict the future and all that kind of thing, you would actually suggest that it may or may not be...
They are potentials.
Potential.
On path you're walking at that moment in time.
Oh, yeah.
Remember 2012, December the 21st?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So many people got it wrong.
They did.
And they got it right.
Yeah.
Something did happen.
Yeah.
Because I felt the effect of it on that day.
What was the effect of it on you?
It was like another layer or another cover had been took off my ability to read reality. And that's what actually it was about. And the next 4 years is Armageddon time, if you like that word, where we have to resolve issues very rapidly. We have to get the crap that's buried deep in our muscles, our bones, hence cancer. And I can show you that as well. I do in the presentation.
You do, yeah.
Very, very real. And then we go into water. Phenomenal. Oh, God. You know, this is such a large life subject. It's mind-blowing, even for me at times.
But what you're seeing is the manifestation of creation. What you're saying is female, essentially, but via the goddess.
Symbolically, female, it creates.
And it creates. And your research, for the listeners, your research is actually, you've looked at DNA.
I'm looking at DNA.
You've looked at DNA, haven't you? And
I've actually shown it on the pictures.
Yeah, and water. But you've also got some fascinating photos of what you term transfiguration, whereby somebody is kind of like in a...
the transfiguration.
Yeah, exactly, where all of a sudden, 1 minute you're standing... So, I mean, there was that guy from Exopolitics UK who absolutely was blown away with it, wasn't it? Cause
he couldn't face it.
He couldn't face it, could he? Because he was stood there.
Because I didn't challenge it. The photographs that were taken in the space of 10 minutes challenged every concept he had. I could tell that.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, playing devil's advocate, and I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but
okay,
come on, come on, Dex. That's lens flare. That's a trick of the camera. You've got the wrong shutter speed. The light isn't correct. All right. Someone was shaking the camera.
That's lens flare. Someone was shaking the camera.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what you believe. Good luck to you.
That's what you think.
You've just retarded my evolutionary path again.
Yeah.
On this world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I haven't really, because it's your choice.
If you meant it.
If I meant it, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You stop, because you've also...
Skepticism. You can't prove anything in a bloody laboratory, because everything they find answers up 100 other questions.
Oh, yeah.
So why try to get to the truth? Just accept it, that you found the next step.
Well, I think at the end of the day, Dex, we're creating science that poisons us. We're creating science that kills us. I mean, I've had on my show people who have been poisoned by, and have had their sons have autism and up against Big Pharma. It's as if our scientific progress is radically different to the ETs. It's darker. It's
well, do you think a lot of them didn't evolve this way? Because some of them
yes, they did.
They had their wars.
Oh, yes. Oh, they're out there.
They had their bartering, they had their thieving, their killing, and everything else.
And in the grand scheme of things, Dex, who is not to say that there may be possibly a
civilization not all like
out there? Yeah, well, no, but who's not to say that there isn't a civilization that's actually living probably the equivalent of 1800? You know, how it's in terms of technology.
Even on planet Earth.
Even on planet Earth. Well, even on planet Earth. Well,
How many Earths have we got?
Exactly. Nothing is off the table. And well, then you're going into parallel universes then, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, you showed me that fascinating photo. I didn't know what to make of it, but basically the gist of it is, if you're in a parallel universe, you know, your telly's sat to your left, but in a parallel universe, it'll be sat to your right. In a parallel universe, we could be sat in a pub, somebody's pub, because there are parallel universes.
Oh,
there is.
Uncountable amount.
Yeah, and the thing is that the guys who did all the paranormal espionage research knew all that they came across this, and there certainly is that going on.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of it. You know, there's a lot of kind of duality. There's a lot of you're looking at. Do you think that there is a Dex Dobie in another parallel universe then?
Absolutely.
Yeah, who's slightly different to you.
Not only concerned with Earth, but
Yeah.
other planets that I'm on at the same time.
Yeah.
That's how big we are.
Yeah. Do you subscribe to the view that there's more than one of you in different forms on other
In
planets?
different dimensions, in different areas of life awareness.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Actually, I do. But your orb photos are really something. Are really something else. I'm a bit sceptical on one of them where you say you've got DNA coming out your eye. Now I don't know about that one, but some of your photos.
Well, there's also a woman in the same show.
Yeah.
At the same event.
Yeah, there's that fascinating one at Probe as well with the guy in the wheelchair in the background. Do you remember that one where he stood at the time traveller?
Oh, George.
Yeah, where everybody called him George. And what that's about, listeners, is a guy stood there talking at a probe conference, and in the background, it's just incredible. There's just a guy sat there in a chair with an oxygen mask on his face. How the hell that's happened, I've no idea. And Dex has taken photos of orbs. Now, it could be argued, and I have a curious story about this, because what happened to me was somebody threatened to sue me. Because they said, oh yes, we know what orbs are. They're all gas. They're all lens flare. They're all this, that, and the other. There's a special. Actually, photographers have a special name for them. I've forgotten the term, but photographers do have a special name for these orbs that appear on a lens. However, a small percentage of them, there's a bit more to it than that. I think and some of them have got a precision geometry about them, which means that there's just something more to it than that. Anyway, I had this disagreement with this guy on Facebook who is very, very well known, almost famous, and we won't go into too much detail. He threatened to sue me and all that kind of thing, because quite simply we just had a difference of opinion. And I think, Dex, you know, you can have a difference of opinion, but there's no need to go off on one and create havoc, is there, because you might disagree or something like that. But some of the orb photos you have taken are absolutely quite amazing. And then there's the strange green multicoloured kind of, you know what I'm saying, laser type. It's not a laser, but
no, it's not a laser.
We don't know what
It's a pure beam.
Yeah, it's something, isn't it? And it's moving.
And not only is it shown in one location, it's shown in 3 different locations on 3 different times.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it is. And it's incredible.
Its ability,
yes,
be an effect where it comes into this reality, or done deliberately by it, that's not known by myself. Mm. It mirror images its surroundings, and it can multiply the imagery. Mm. It's an amazing being.
You're talking like something out of the film The Abyss. Have you seen that?
Oh, it goes way beyond that.
It goes way beyond that?
Way beyond that.
Yeah, so, and you've taken how many photos so far?
3 different locations. I've never counted them, but it must be approaching 20, anywhere between 20 and 25, 26.
But in total, how many photos have you taken over the years, though?
4,000.
About 4,000. You've got 4,000 of all various sorts. Are some of them ghost photos, then? Or some of them...
Don't do ghosts.
You don't do ghosts, right? Okay. I was wondering if some of them are ghosts.
It's a good starting point.
Oh, yeah.
But all these people run round.
Yeah.
And they think that's it.
Yeah.
They've discovered something. It's a habit.
Yeah.
Go beyond. What is it? What's actually captured you?
Yeah.
And it's always about who you are and what life is.
Well, you showed me that. Yes, it is. But you showed me that photo of that girl in the castle. It was like a parallel universe thing.
Oh, yeah, 2 of them. Yeah.
Like, can you remember? Can you just
I've
remember?
got the pictures on there.
Yeah, you've got the pictures on the computer.
I'll contact her and ask her permission to put them on the website.
Yeah, indeed, because what you've got there is you've got...
Because you are looking at parallel universes, or parallel...
There was something going on there. There really was, wasn't there? Because
she's an amazing lady.
Yeah, because you've got... what was it? Was it the same lady or a different lady in a different clothing? Or
no, same clothing.
Same clothing.
But doing different things.
Yeah, and this is what we say side by side, and this is what we say, that there are parallel universes, and you will come across them in your experience.
More than as we accelerate
yes.
in our understanding of a greater life picture.
Yes,
and that's what it's about, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
This, what we call paranormal, will become normal. We are totally. In fact, we should all be claiming off the pensions and God knows what because we're disabled. We claim with all this technology, and we don't use it.
No. In that sense of the word, there is a very dark campaign to dumb down the population so that they forget who they are and where they come. Well, exactly. Well, I think they've missed quite a few people. Yeah. Oh, I know.
Oh, I don't give a toss about them because they cannot beat what's going on.
I think they're outgunned, Dex. I think they're outgunned, they're outclassed. And
they knew that while if it's real, that's why they started when they did.
Yeah. No, it's a battle that they cannot win. The power that they're up against is...
it's just one experience versus another experience.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to look at it as two different types of camps.
I think so. I mean, what do the aliens say about that? Are these characters, Anther and Lucy and Orly?
They're quite aware of how planets can evolve. They're very aware that the eyes of the universe basically are on us. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Some of these ETs, or extraterrestrial, off-world civilization members, they can make you feel like you're on the Titanic with a gorgeous bird in the ballroom dancing. You can smell, taste, and everything. You'll be there.
Do you think that is because there's a researcher called, you wouldn't be familiar with him, called Darrell Sims, who does must have him on the show, who does alien implants, or he researches alien implants, and there's absolutely, say no more, where people are implanted, and implants do exist. But anyway, the basic gist of it is he claims the concept of screen memories. So what you've just said is, for example, somebody can be out there with these ETs and they're looking at the Titanic and they're floating, on the Titanic, when in fact the ET is doing something entirely different and is possibly abusing them in terms of alien abduction.
I can't answer it because I've never been abused. I've only been shown a lot of love, a lot of respect.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that is totally alien to me.
Yeah, so that would be alien to you.
Understand it.
Yeah.
So I can't comment on it.
I mean, what I'm doing is I'm asking you questions that are kind of like that you wouldn't normally answer. But I'm interested to know: do you think that there is kind of like a campaign of disinformation out there so that if somebody like you has an experience with ETs that are very loving, I've had very traumatic experiences, but on the other hand, I've had profound, deep spiritual experience. But do you think that there is some sort of disinformation campaign out there to make sure that the aliens are painted as monsters and bad guys, when in fact, like you said, you've had a loving experience with them. You've had good experiences with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which you have.
Galaxy blowing.
Yeah. Do you think there is some sort of disinfo campaign to?
There is that potential.
There's a potential, yeah.
That potential, yeah, because people see reality all in different ways. It's based on their knowledge of life up to that moment in time. It's based on their history. But like we were speaking about yesterday, ancestry, DNA.
Yeah, well, exactly.
This is the subject I would like to talk to you.
Yeah, well, indeed, because you see that the thing is with it is that in my family history we're related to Dick Turpin. I think at somewhere along the line on the Scottish side, my mother's side is related to the royal family. I think that also that as I was telling you yesterday, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because you came out with an interesting remark about it. From the line of my surname Topping, there is a guy who was in New York who I think was a crazy serial killer. Yeah. And
that's where you got the eyes from.
Yeah, where I got the eyes from. It's where I got that insane look from.
Yeah, I'm getting nervous.
It's that insane,
twisted and contorted.
Exactly, it's that insane look of years of abuse and mental put down, which you say I gave permission to. And you might have a point when you get to a certain age. You might think, you do have a point where you tend to now the past.
It's not an area I go into yet because people aren't aware of it.
No,
people will not understand it.
No, indeed.
If you believe in free will, there can be no other way.
Well, yes, Yes, absolutely. No, I do agree with that. The basic gist of it is that this guy who was the madhead in our family, and did I say we were related to Dick Turpin? We were related to Dick Turpin as well. Anyway, the basic gist of it is that you came out with a remark that perhaps in some cases that each kind of like reincarnation, I know you don't like losing that word, but from your research point of view, there's something in the species, like a species-driven thing, where my DNA is altered in some way so that his behaviour doesn't happen again within the family lineage. And every DNA is kind of like affected with family habits at an energetic level. That's what your research is about, is that?
That's part of my research.
Right,
yes.
that's it, isn't it? So
yes, I'm very interested in DNA because it is actually a treasure trove of technology that our scientists don't know about.
Right. But you've not read
I
any
show
books on
pictures that it's true.
Yeah.
Whether you believe them or not, it's another matter, but the camera very rarely lies. And I don't lie. And everything I've done, it's never been altered or adulterated to make it look what it isn't.
I know that you haven't doctored it. I know that. I mean, you know, as you know where I stand with you. But I know that none of your pictures have been doctored. But interestingly enough, how does this relate? How does this relate to your research, the DNA currently, what you're looking at? Because you've done a lot of research into it, haven't you? And how does it kind of mesh in with what you're doing at the moment?
My next phase, I'm carrying on with the ancestry bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to discover the physical form, when it's created, takes on the lineage of both sides of the parentage.
Right. Right.
Now, if someone's got an emotional tag they've attached to the DNA, you might come in with that type of personality that will pick it up and not know it. So you are not being yourself, you are being the other person's influence. And that can go back hundreds of years.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it? That
not a concept, it's a reality.
Yeah.
To you it's a concept, to me it's a reality.
I've said the wrong word. Yeah, that's fair, but it's interesting. It's a very interesting observation.
But then you came with another imprint of your personal awareness history.
What's that about, personal awareness history?
Well, where you've been, many millions and billions of lives, experiences you've had out there.
Yeah, all kind of like time stamped with each.
The moment when the egg, the female egg, and the sperm make that first split second, the inlay is placed within that being's growing body. The inlay of the DNA, your history. Otherwise, I would not know about all the things I know and have lived and been witness living in. That's the main thing. Because if you go through all this stuff and you're not affecting anybody else, etc., etc., you're going to book yourself into a rubber room in the funny farm. But everything, I would say 97, 98% of all my experiences has involved other people. Therefore, I know I don't need tablets, I don't need a rubber room. I know something's going on a level that's outside what you'd call normal life. So, yeah, if you want to call me a weirdo, fine. I'm your weirdo, I don't care. But I know they're real, and I'm collecting photographic evidence of what's taking place. Now, the skeptics won't believe it, bless their hearts. Carry on disbelieving. So I don't want to disturb your box, that box that you put the lid on, that there's only this reality.
Cheers, Dex. You don't want to disturb my book. No, but it's interesting considering that you've not studied any books on the subject. It is interesting because it is, but because I think that there's something happening at the molecular and quantum level.
Very much so.
Isn't there? Whereby if
I want to go into looking in the next 18 months at dark matter, light matter within the concept of DNA, and it is there, and it's a vehicle that can be opened up and used.
It's not something I've looked at. Is that where you're
heading?
So that's where you're heading at the
over
moment.
the next 18 months.
And will that material be going on your website? Because I noticed there was something to do with dark matter and UFO technology.
Yes, the technology where they traverse realities, spatial realities. Even that doesn't describe it actually.
No. Well, I mean, but at the end of the day,
spatial realities. From one reality to another.
Right. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. But at the end, I mean, India, you know, I'm a bit of an expert on that and the UFO situation in India.
Yeah.
And the top secret kind of think tank in India that's looking at UFOs and leaked it to the press nothing is off the table with them as to how the UFO
Well,
work.
neither should there be. These are true scientists.
Absolutely. They're damn right they are. They really have thought out the box. I mean, when you...
And you know one thing they missed out in religion?
Well,
when Jesus was here, he was one of the greatest scientists of his day.
You think so?
Yeah, he learned how to walk on water.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah, I thought you were going to come out with something profound.
He learned how to turn water into wine. Can you do that?
No.
Yes, you can. There you go. That's your belief.
Well, no, I can't turn water into wine.
That's your belief.
Well, yeah, I know.
You never will turn water into wine. You'd rather go to the pub.
Well, I would, but if you...
It's cheaper if you turn water into wine.
Well, exactly. Well, I know that, but I mean, how do I do that? I mean...
We had a guy at Pro
Yes.
doing a demonstration. He got halfway there.
Get away.
He
Really?
took ordinary tap water, took on a red tint. In fact,
I've heard of all this. Yeah, is there some healing properties with it as well and all that kind of thing?
No, it's your beliefs.
No, I know that, but I know all that bit.
I put in an extract from a video on the website.
Yes, but it's the guy...
A true happening that happened in the 1800s with a ship.
Really?
Yes. It's all documented, naval documentation, right? There was a big court case after it, an inquiry. The ship caught fire 3 days out of Liverpool, roughly. The crew, thank goodness, I don't think anyone was lost, but they all managed to get to the lifeboat, and they were adrift for 2 weeks. The food got eaten and the water ran out very quickly. They got that desperate for drinking water, all of them, that the captain, who was classed as a really level-headed man, decided to put his hands into the sea over the side of the rowing boat, you know, and he scooped up the water and drank it, and that's what kept them alive for 2 weeks at sea, in a rough sea, before they were rescued. The water round the lifeboats turned to pure water, so they could drink it.
Was that through his intent?
Their intent, their desperation.
Yeah,
They altered the molecules of the water. Now Russia's doing phenomenal work on this.
Yeah, yes.
The next lot of computers will be water-based.
Yes. Oh, yes, they will be.
The gig is tiny compared to water-based technology. Now, if you go on the website, you'll understand. I had a conversation with Lucy over this. And that's how I communicate with Lucy, through the water content, the fluid content of my body, and the fluid content of hers.
You've said that, haven't you? Yes, you have said that in an article.
All I do is imagine her face.
Yeah.
And instantly the connection's there.
Yeah.
It doesn't travel across the universe, it's instantaneous. All water knows everything, everywhere, throughout the universe. Right across the other side of the universe, the water knows what my body's doing, because it's all one, whole, complete. And it says something else. All the religions, right, in the West particularly, say that this God thing, they like to call it a Mal, right, that's up their choice, they like to say it's whole, round, circular, complete within itself, it is love. Okay? Well, if that's the case and it built this creative reality, you can't be outside it, so you are inside it. So what does that make you? Ultimately, what does that make you? Because it's whole, there is only one. There's not two, there's not three, there's not four. There is one. To play the game of life. So ultimately the source is you. The duality says, no, I'm separate from it. And I've experienced that at that level of being, as a light being, and at this level, in a physical form. And it's the same both ways.
Fascinating. No, just fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
Oh, you don't know half what I've been through, son.
Are you saying that the aliens are
I don't know
that the aliens is the
off-world societies,
off-world societies,
off-world beings,
the beings, visitors. What would you call?
Remember, Lucy slapped my hand for that.
Yeah. Because really, perhaps it's the other way around. We're the aliens, aren't we?
We are alienated from any truth of what we are.
That is very true indeed. And of course, at the end, just to clarify in my own head, what you're basically saying is that this alien Lucy who you communicate with, you're doing this via a water thing.
A water technology.
A water technology. But is there, what I'm interested in, is there some sort of, therefore, quantum components to that communication? Because how is water, the invisible line of communication?
Because it has memory. And it stores memory and feelings of anything that has contact with it.
But how
Your
does
body
it
has contact with water.
How is it a transmitter of information if she's on another planet? How does that work?
Instantaneous.
It's
Because
instantaneous.
water is one. It's more natural, more pure than anything else you're going to find.
I see. I see.
There is only one water.
Yes.
And it knows everything, everywhere.
Yes.
It stores all the memories. Maybe you could actually put it down to something like, remember some people talk about the Attic records?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Not a subscriber.
I'm not saying it is.
No.
I'm not saying it is.
Yes.
But I'm saying it's that type of technology.
Yes.
And we are talking about a technology.
Yes.
You are a technology. Your thoughts, your feelings. Love is a technology. There are no miracles. There is technology. And when you learn how to use it, yes, you can raise the dead. You think there's only one person ever raised the dead? Get out of here. Whoa, no way. No way, Jose. So, you know, let's rock and roll. That's what I say.
Well,
let's enjoy the drive, right, because I'm creating it.
You've left me quite speechless there, Dex. There's a lot to get the head around, especially the bit with the water and the communication. I find it fascinating.
I'll come back on.
Yeah, well, you will, because it's just areas of interest that I would actually look at. But you know, I've said to you, I keep battering you around the head to have a look at Rupert Sheldrake's work with his biophysical fields. You know, and just have a look at it, and have a look at a few other books as well.
Well, but it sends me to sleep.
I know this, but you know, it would be if some of Sheldrake's work is interesting because it's.
I'm not saying it ain't.
No.
The ability to read anything is gone.
I know, well, yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
What I'm saying is,
I'd rather have my outlook on it for experience.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is, you'd surely learn something if you had a look at his work, because it might mesh with yours. You might see some insight from his work. And he's been ridiculed. I mean,
I'm ridiculed.
Well, no, we're all ridiculed, but he really got into some real ridicule where some sites are not publishing his work, and he's of your school of thinking that the telephone ringing is telepathy. Telepathy is a biological function.
Of course it is.
Therefore, your deep spiritual experience that you had years ago, where you experienced God and you experienced the Supreme God. You know, I'm putting it in my word, but that's basically what we're saying. Is also part of that biological function. It's part of our biology.
It's life. And out of itself in a natural manner.
It is.
And that's all it is.
And that is all it is. And the thing is, we've forgotten it.
Don't do gymnastics around it. Accept it as it is.
No, absolutely.
And you'll be amazed what will open up.
Yeah, well, this is absolutely correct. I think we need you. We're coming up to the end of the show, Dex, but I think we need you. We need you on again because you're fascinating to listen to.
Who pays me?
Well, I mean, it's a pint of Guinness down the front.
Not one of your
well, it is, mate. I mean, the Tony Topping Show, it's bloody on thin air, mate, frankly. Unless Bigelow's going to sponsor me. Come on, Rob. Get your hand in your pocket, mate, to sponsor the Tony Topping Show. But, but anyway, I'm glad to have had you on, Dex. I find you intense, fascinating, and I'm trying to keep pace with what you're saying. Because there's a lot going on, but I'm glad that you have come on the show because, there's fascinating components to your experiences. So thank you for coming on the show, and we'll have you on again. The website, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is just under construction. It's called DexDobie.com, and Dex is having to just re-alter a lot of things because he's done a hell of a lot of work. There's lots of photos and images. And he's got quite a following with people. People like Dex, and rightly so as well, because he's got quite a following. You've just got to drag it out of him, put the electrodes on him, put the lamp on him, and put water over him to get him to talk, kind of thing, as I'm doing now. Yes. Anyway, we're off down the pub where we'll probably start arguing with each other again about what is and what isn't stuff. But there you go. So this is the Tony Topping Show with our guest, Dex Dobie.
Thank you.
No problems, matey. Come on again. And we're back next week, Fridays, 2100 hours. Goodbye.